Welcome to this PowerPoint presentation of the Roanoke Valley SPCA's Safe Handling of Dogs, Part 1. Our dog walking training session is here to show our volunteers how we use dog walking as a training tool for our shelter dogs. The goal of this PowerPoint is to be consistent in our delivery of the materials and to make sure we are all on the same page when handling the dogs. If anything here isn't clear to you or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. First, we'll start with some of the general guidelines for safe interaction with the dogs in our care. Always be calm and give the dog your undivided attention. Be aware of what's on your hands and where you put them. Always wash your hands before touching your mouth, face, or before eating anything. When working with dogs to protect yourself and the dog, you need to be wearing long pants and closed-toed, rubber-soled shoes. Playtime and walking is important, but do some training when you're with the dog. A trained dog is more adoptable in the long run. Here at the shelter, we use the open paw method to help our animals become more comfortable in their environment. Remember that if you are ever bitten or scratched and the skin is broken, we are required to put the dog on a 10-day quarantine, and that volunteer may be required to receive the rabies series of shots. We want to protect both you and the dog, so prevention is the key. If an incident does happen, please give us as much information as you possibly can. I do understand that some volunteers may have concerns about revealing that a dog has injured them. Whether it was an accident or on purpose, our fault or their fault, we still need to know. Volunteers that are injured by animals and decline to tell staff immediately are subject to termination as a volunteer. There is a zero-tolerance policy on this issue. We want our pets to succeed in their new homes. Many of them are here due to behavior issues, owners or dog's health, economy, or owners not understanding the breed. A national research was done, and these are the top 10 reasons for relinquishment of dogs. Many of these reasons are fixable. Think about it. The staff here at the shelter does an excellent job of keeping the kennels clean and the environment calm, but it is still a shelter and not a home. These are some of the reasons shelter dogs may act the way they do. Often a shelter dog will act completely different when they are out of this environment. As you may already know, over 90% of the animals we accept are from the Regional Center for Animal Control and Protection, also known as the Pound. We are committed to helping these companion animals, so we try to give as many of their animals a second chance. Each animal at the Regional Center is given a behavior assessment when their stray hold time is up. Direct owner relinquishment to the SPCA is done the same way. Assessment by the behaviors and current vet records are required. Keep this in mind when you are working with the dogs. It may give you a better understanding of why they are acting the way they do. Although each animal has been evaluated by our behavior staff, we still need to be careful. Stress and fear are very good reasons for a dog to behave in an other than normal way. No one can guarantee a dog will not bite given the right circumstances. Being knowledgeable about dog body language may help you to accurately read their mood. Dogs will tell you what they're feeling. Is the dog showing teeth? If so, how? Does his face look relaxed or tense? Is his body relaxed, stiff, or rigid? No one feature is enough. Different dogs don't use these features in the same way. Dogs will tell you what they're feeling if you pay attention. Is the dog showing teeth? If so, how? Does his face look relaxed or tense? Is his body relaxed, or is it stiff and rigid? No one feature is enough. Different dogs don't use the features in the same way. They have different kinds of tails and ears, and so they will look different from each other. Listen to their vocalizations. Whimpers and whines generally mean submissive. Barking, growling can be play, or it can be a threat. Some behaviors have different meanings in different situations. Focus your attention on the dog and what is going on in his environment. It is always a good idea to get to know the dog before you take them out. Give the dog a chance to show you his character. This is where Open Paw Level 1 is so important. It takes time and practice to understand what the dog is trying to tell you by reading their body language. So please be patient with yourself. Part 2, the basics of reading a dog's body language. We're going to look at some of the very basic things to look at when working with the dog. I will repeat over and over to be aware of the whole dog during this part of the presentation on body language. What I mean is you cannot look at a dog's tail wagging and know the dog is happy. There are questions you need to ask yourself, such as, is the tail midline or high? Is his body rigid or relaxed? Are his ears laid back or perked? Let's look at a few of the things you need to look for. The yawn is a great example of a displacement behavior. If a dog is tired, then the yawn is normal. Or if the dog is wide awake, the yawn tells you that he is stressed or excited. Displacement behaviors are those activities which seem inappropriate for the situation. Some other examples include panting. You know when the dog has just finished playing, exercise, or the weather is hot, the panting is normal. If none of this is going on and the dog is panting, the dog may be stressed. Displacement activities are early signals to let you know that a dog is not relaxed and may become fearful or aggressive. Not all dogs become fearful or aggressive, but some may if the source of the stress continues to intensify. It is pretty well known that when a dog is crouching down or has his tail between his legs, he is afraid or anxious about something. A dog that avoids eye contact may be afraid of you. It's a natural instinct, as if he is thinking, if I don't see you, you're not there. The picture at the top is a dog who is afraid after a person walks straight towards him. The second picture shows the proper way to approach a dog, from the side and bending down. In the third picture, you see the dog's reaction to the proper approach. He is much more relaxed with a doggy, happy face. Use the same approach the first time you approach a new dog in his kennel. Try talking with the dog in a soft and soothing voice. Crouch down and get on his level. Approach him from the side, not head on. Then, also from the side, slowly move your hand to pet him on the shoulder, chin, or behind the ears, never on the top of the head. If he lets you, great. If not, don't continue trying to pet him. Stay with him and see if he gets used to you and calms down a bit. In the top picture, the dog is cowering and moving away after a person tried to walk towards him. He is afraid. The second picture is the dog's point of view of a human trying to pet him. This is scary for a dog. Let's take a quick look at each part of the dog and what to look for. Let's start with the ears. Consider different types of ears. There's floppy, erect, and cropped. In the top two pictures, the ears are in a relaxed state. The bottom pictures show dogs that are alert. Floppy ears can be harder to interpret than perked ears. The three dogs at the top all may be in a state of fear. Sometimes a dog's ears being all the way back can just be a submissive, friendly gesture. Because it is so difficult to tell a dog's mood by just looking at the ears, it is important to look at the whole dog. When a dog's ears are cropped, they lose some motion ability, and the ears are more likely to stand up. This makes it harder to interpret what the dog is trying to tell you. Notice the dog in the bottom pair of pictures. How much meaner the dog looks when the ears are cropped. Doberman Pinschers and Pit Bulls' ears are often cropped. When a dog is avoiding eye contact, we often have to look closer to gauge the dog's mood. Dog owners often describe their dogs as having a certain look in their eye before they bite or initiate a fight with another dog. Some visual cues can be dilated pupils, unwavering gaze, extra wide eyes, or the eyes are scrunched in a tense way, as if the dog is concentrating hard. A closed mouth doesn't tell you much. Is the dog in the top picture distracted or bored? The way to really know is to examine the whole dog's body posture. The Border Collie panting on the right is happy and relaxed. Teeth are showing, but the eyes and tongue are relaxed. A submissive grin or happy dog face is when the lip retraction is vertical, as if you could brush his teeth. Angry dogs, the lip retraction is horizontal, as if he is pulling back his lips by gritting his teeth. A dog wagging his tail can have many meanings. A relaxed or motionless tail could mean the dog is alert and focused on something that has gotten his attention. But an aggressive dog tail may also be emotionless. Again, you have to notice the dog's whole posture. Some dogs naturally have a curly tail that stands up high, and some dogs' tails naturally hang a little low. The tail between the legs indicates fear or submission. Tail motion often communicates a dog's intent or emotions. Some dogs will make their tails look larger the same way as when the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. Anytime a dog or cat is looking larger than normal, this is a sign of aggression. Let's quickly go over some general behavior. The three dogs on the bottom left are cowering, their heads and tails are lowered, avoiding eye contact. This type of submissive behavior usually indicates fear. A dog will act out a non-threatening displacement behavior to try and turn off a behavior from another dog or a person that they perceive to be threatening. Rolling over and exposing the belly can sometimes indicate submission or just friendliness. Showing the belly can oftentimes mean a sign of trust. Licking a person or other dog, especially on the face, usually means friendliness. An aggressive dog may have a tail centered along the dog's body and held upright, eyes scrunched and weight forward, or hair standing up between the dog's shoulders. The dog in the upper right is walking away from another dog, afraid. In the lower left, you can see the similarities between submissive and defensive appearances. Is the dog's body posture rigid or relaxed? Again, you have to observe the dog's whole body. Dogs will deliver one of three types of bites. Consider all of these as a threat. Snapping is biting air, and this is usually defensive. Inhibited is when the dog touches but does not break the skin. This may be defensive rather than offensive. A full bite breaks the skin, causes injury, and definitely offensive. There are several different types of aggression. They include possessive, which is competing for a resource such as food, a toy, or a favorite resting place. Protective is when a dog is protecting or defending a member of his or her social group from apparent threats. Hugs, handshakes, and roughhousing can often be misinterpreted by dogs as a threat. Maternal is when a dam, or sometimes the sire, is protecting the puppies. Dominance is when a dog directs aggression towards a member of his or her social group, or when establishing position over an unfamiliar individual. Dogs sometimes play rough. Growling is a normal part of play. After going through this material, we are by no means experts on body language. In fact, we've barely scratched the surface. It is important that we are aware of what a dog may be trying to tell us. Remember, reading body language takes a lot of time and practice. You can find a lot more information on reading body language on the internet. Part 3, in the shelter. Zoonotics are the diseases which can be passed from an animal to a human. Rabies, ringworm, and scabies are just a few of the diseases which can be passed along. Although it is rare, it is a good idea to toss the clothes you wear at the shelter in the washer immediately upon returning home. It's also a good idea to have shoes that you wear at the shelter that can be tossed in the washer or hosed off when you get home. It is just one way to minimize the threat to yourself and your pet. Let's talk about the dogs in our shelter. Each kennel has a kennel card and comment sheet attached to the front. Read them before handling the dog. Please know the dog's name before you take him out. Every animal in the shelter has a kennel card. It gives basic information on the animal. Age, name, breed, and the date it came into the shelter are some of the things you will find on this card. Comment sheets are for volunteers to give fellow dog walkers, adoption counselors, and potential adopters your observations on the dog. When you return the dog to his kennel after walking, playing, or socializing, write your observations on the comment sheet and place it on the kennel. Please do not use negative comments. There are positive ways to say that the dog does not walk well on the leash. During your orientation to the shelter, you watched Open Paw Level 1 and 2. Open Paw is a valuable user and animal-friendly training and ongoing behavior assessment tool. The program was created to keep cats and dogs out of shelters. The SPCA uses this model with the goal of creating a calm and less stressful environment for the animals, teaches the dogs to have better manners so they will be adopted quicker, and keep dogs from coming back due to behavior issues. Food is given as a reward for desired behavior. Negative attention to a dog is better than no attention at all, therefore they consider it a reward. Be consistent. You can't punish for an unwanted behavior one time and reward it by reacting to it another time. This just reinforces the behavior. Open Paw Level 3 and 4 are recommended for volunteers who walk the dogs. Consider coming in at any time to view the videos. They're always available for the volunteers to watch. The techniques shown in the video are great ways to teach basic commands to the dogs, as well as good leash walking manners. Teaching basic commands is a great way to get their brains moving. Mentally healthy dogs are also physically healthy dogs. Use these techniques when socializing the animals. It will help them in their new homes. Here are some things to remember when you approach a dog for the first time. Direct eye contact may be perceived as a threat. Earlier, we talked about displacement behaviors. Licking lips and yawning are self-soothing behaviors which make you relatable to the dog. Always move slowly. Crouch down or kneel. Get on his level with your body side to side with the dog. Keep arms and hands near your person, relaxed at your side. Dogs can feel your tension and fear. Dogs see these as threatening signals. Once you're in the kennel, use Open Paw Level 2 to help the dog learn the correct behavior for having their leash put on. It desensitizes the dog to seeing the leash. In other words, they will know that excited barking and jumping will not get them outside. If we are able to teach these dogs they must sit before they have their leash put on to go out, it will in turn make for a happier adoption. Once you're in the kennel, the best way to start is with sit. Remember, shelter dogs may not have received this very basic training before they got here, or they may have forgotten and need a gentle reminder of the appropriate behavior. Before you place the leash on the dog, make sure he has a no-slip martingale collar on. Do not put the leash on the collar until the dog's in a sit or 4 on the floor position. Be patient, it may take a little while. Remember to always hold the leash with 2 hands. Never take a dog out you are not fully comfortable handling. Now that you're out on your walk, there are a couple things to remember. Try to keep the dog at your side in a heel position. Don't allow the dog to interact with other dogs. Please take the dog out for a potty break before you start your walk. Once you're outside, you can walk the dogs in the grassy area around the parking lot, or you can take the dog on our walking trail. Please do not walk across the street and do not go in front of the regional center. These are the basic commands we use here at the shelter. To be consistent and not confuse the dogs, we all use the same commands. This is also posted in the dog room by the volunteer whiteboard. Things to remember when you're out walking the dog. One thing to remember is the dog coming in is calmer after their walk. So if somebody's coming out at the same time you're going in, please give the dog who is coming out the right of way. This concludes our presentation on safe handling of dogs. The next step in the process of your training will be to schedule a short hands-on with the volunteer coordinator.